Hey everybody, Coach Mizell here. I wanted to recap our parents' meeting last night, especially for those of you who weren't able to be there. I wanted to make sure you had all the information we went over. We did talk about just some of the general things that you need to know about sports teams. Our varsity lettering policy is simply that if an athlete appears in 1/3 of the varsity meets or is on the district varsity team, they get a varsity letter. Everybody else, presuming they end the season in good standing, receives a JV letter. Teams are very fluid in cross country. If this is your first year, JV and varsity can change from week to week. We can run 7 varsity runners for boys and girls each week, and so from week to week, if one person's time is faster than another, then they will move on to varsity or to JV and vice versa. And so it makes my job easy because I don't have to decide who's on varsity and JV. The stopwatch can do that for me. And if you ever have any questions about varsity or JV, or particularly if you have one of those students who seems to kind of be going back and forth from the two, please always check with me on a week-to-week basis to make sure you're clear if they're in the JV or varsity race and everything like that. And I'll always willing to answer questions about that. As far as schedules go, practice schedules, we will be practicing on Monday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. The team will have team study hall from 3 to 4, and then practice will begin at 4 p.m. Team study hall is also an opportunity for them to see teachers and things like that if necessary on the academic side of things. So Monday and Wednesday practice will be at 4 p.m. and then on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday practice will be at 3 p.m. And again, practices always last about 90 minutes. If they're going to last a little longer, I will try to let you know. Saturdays, we will practice at 8 a.m. Any Saturday we don't have a meet, we will practice at 8 a.m. And again, the 90-minute time frame is the same. We will also practice on any days off of school, Labor Day, things like that. In most cases, those days off of school practices will be at 8 a.m. as well. I'll let you know as they come, but you can always assume that we are having practice on days off of school. Practice attendance policy. Please, the most important thing about practice attendance is that you communicate with me. If you have communicated with me prior to an absence, then it is considered an excused absence, and that's just fine with me. However, if an absence from practice is not communicated with me, then it's considered an unexcused absence. That, of course, it does not deal with if there was some sort of an emergency or something like that. If an athlete has an unexcused absence from practice, then they will sit out the next competition. In the event that an athlete has many excused absences, an abnormal amount, then I'll also want to talk to the athlete and you as parents about how often they're missing practice. In terms of team discipline and team communication and things like that, I really encourage you, please, if you ever have a problem, if your athlete comes home upset, please call me. You can always contact me on my cell phone. Often when things are said in practice, by the time they get home to the parents, they have been interpreted and communicated differently. And so I encourage you to always call me when in doubt. I do push the athletes to improve and push to them to have good character and things like that. And so at times, I'm tough on them. But if you have a concern, please just call me and we can make sure that we're on the same page as far as what's going on. The other side of that is, however, is that if there's something to be worked out with an athlete, if they're a little disappointed or frustrated, the best thing was to be that athlete is communicating with the coaches directly. I believe that athletes should learn how to communicate with adults effectively, and so I don't want to be in these long, drawn-out dialogues about a particular issue with a parent with the student just sitting on the sideline. The best thing for me is to simply be talking to the athlete, working things out with them, and then making sure that the parent knows what's going on throughout that whole process. And of course, if you ever have any questions about that, you can always call me and everything like that. As far as general communication of the season goes, most of my communications, as you've already found out, are by email. And so if you have an extra email that you want on that list or something like that, please let me know right away and I will add that to our list. We also have a team Twitter account at LutheranXC_TF. And so if you're not following the XC and track and field account, please follow that, as we will send out tweets throughout the season. That's kind of the basic general information that we shared last night at the meeting. More specifically, the schedule, the meet schedule, is up to date online through the LHS website. Please make sure you check that. The meet schedule did change this week, and so if you had printed off a schedule previously, please go back and reprint the schedule because there was some changes. All meets are varsity and JV, with the exception of the district and state meet. And so you can plan that your athlete attends all the meets up until districts, regardless of whether they're varsity or JV. We do have one overnight meet. That will be to Kansas City, or more specifically Lawrence, Kansas, for the Rimrock Invitational hosted by the University of Kansas. We will be leaving overnight on September 23rd. That's a Friday. The meet is, of course, in the morning on September 24th. More details about that schedule for that trip will come out as we go. Another thing for you to know as we go throughout the season is we do have team dinners every week. If you would like to host one of those team dinners, then you can let me know, and I can let you know what the preset dates for those dinners are. We did have several parents sign up for dinners last night. If you would like to sign up for a dinner, you are committing to the team coming over to your house after practice on that given date and eating pasta or whatever you've prepared for them. And so if you're interested in a team dinner, please let me know. I am looking for at least one parent volunteer to help transport our tent home from meets. We have a nice team tent that we use at every meet, and it is easily transported to the meets on the bus, but it's very difficult to get it back from the meets. And so if you ever have a truck or a van and you know that sometimes you would be able to help transport that tent, please let me know. The last couple things I had on my list is, if you haven't been informed, Picture Day is Thursday for the cross-country team. Students should come to practice in their regular practice clothes, as we will practice, and then our pictures are at the end of practice, and so they should bring their team uniform. Your student should have come home with their official competition uniform, black bottoms and a blue tank top. Those are their official uniform, and I handed those out on Monday. And so if you haven't seen those yet, please ask your student. That's what our picture will be taken in, and so they can bring that uniform to practice on Thursday. We'll practice, and then I will give them time to change into their competition uniforms for the pictures. If you haven't seen the uniform, please let me know as soon as possible. In addition to that, those of you who ordered warm-up gear through Lutheran High earlier in the summer, that is what students wear over their competition uniforms when we go to meets. And so the blue short sleeve shirt should be on over that blue tank top when we go to meets. We will transition to wearing the long black pants, as well as a blue or black top, whether it's a half zip or full zip, when it gets a little bit cooler. Those are the major things we went over at the meeting last night. Please never hesitate to give me a call or an email if you have any questions. I'm really excited for this year. This is a great group of kids, and as always, it's going to be a great cross-country season. See you soon.